Okay, so we're going to take a look at the Eternal Tombs reveal trailer. This game used to be called War of Dragnaroks, and I did have a quick look at it earlier. I wanted to get some more opinions about it because this, to me, is a very exciting video. I really enjoyed it. So we're going to take a quick look, we're going to get some impressions on it, and we're just going to see what everybody else thinks. So let's give it a play. Just to start off with, I don't think they've done a great job at the start of this video. The screen shaking, the really loud, obnoxious sounds is a bit too much. So like, can you imagine if you got this on full volume, you sat there chilling, and then you've just got that boom blasting out in your ear? It's not going to be great. First bit of good info there, run by live dungeon masters, is probably something that I've never been so excited about in terms of like an MMO. It's just like the music is just too loud and obnoxious. I don't get it. Like, first looking at this in terms of these little clips of combat, it does kind of make me think of New World a little bit. The combat, the action combat, it seems very New World-esque in its visual appearance. Action combat is definitely something I like in an MMO. I like having more control over my character more so than things like the tab targeting combat systems like Elder Scrolls Online, New World. Those are definitely more of my favourite types of combat, and that's what it looks like on first impressions. But it does look like the combat needs a little bit of work from these clips because there's not very much to it. Light attacking, there's not really much going on. So, I mean, it looks decent, but I definitely think they could have probably done a bit better work on the trailer there, especially for like the official release. People would have probably been more excited in the first minute and 20 seconds if that would have been a bit better, and obviously not so loud and the screen shaking and all that kind of stuff. The combat, like I say, is definitely my cup of tea in that regard. You know what I mean? That action combat, definitely something I'd be looking for. Obviously, it still needs optimizing. We're not even on a beta yet, so it's going to need a bit of optimizing, I imagine. There's probably still a lot of work to go into it up until it gets to an official beta, but still something that I'm definitely interested in. I don't really know where the world, like where Eternal Tombs as a name comes from. It doesn't, I don't know. Seems like a strange name for a game that they're saying is like live dungeon masters. It's like this whole dynamic game, and honestly, I mean, forgive me if like I'm saying something wrong here, but I've never seen a game, especially not an MMORPG, that is stating they're going to have live dungeon masters. They'd probably be better calling them sort of world masters or something like that. Someone who's actively like these people are going to be in control of the game. They're going to be staff members, paid staff members that are running the game from like behind the scenes, creating like a dynamic experience. So you log in and it's going to be different every time. And for me as an MMO player, that's really exciting because you go from patch to patch. So let's say you play your typical MMO, DLC comes out, you play the new content, and then after a few days you might be done, and then you've got to wait for the next patch to come out, and then the next big chapter release comes out. Whereas a game like this is going to have like new, challenging, interesting content potentially every time you log in. I don't know if obviously over time you're going to get to see, you're constantly seeing similar things, and then eventually it gets a bit boring. I don't know, but I just feel like this seems like really exciting, but very ambitious as well. Like, it seems like an extremely ambitious project. I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is absolutely one of the most exciting feelings I've had for an MMO for a while. Like, I don't know what it is, but just having live game masters, dungeon masters, creating these dynamic events, it's just something that I just can't get away from. It just sounds absolutely amazing. And I don't... It sounds too good to be true in some ways. Like, I think if this takes off in terms of gaining a popularity boost and people get really excited about this, what concerns me is at the start, like, how are they going to have enough dynamic events to please potentially a lot of people? How many servers are they going to have? How are they going to manage that? And then obviously most MMOs have like a real big peak when they first release, and then they kind of diminish, and then it eventually levels out with the kind of consistent audience that they're going to keep. How are they going to deal with this on release day when there's a million people wanting to play it and they need loads of servers? How, like, the early part of this is concerning, because obviously if they don't nail it from the get-go and people really get engaged with it and really involved with it, they're going to leave in their droves. Do you know what I mean? So it sounds absolutely amazing, but I find, like, I feel like it's going to be difficult for them to start this off, especially if it gets popular very, very quickly in like its early release. I just like this theory and this idea, because how can you get bored in a game that's constantly got different stuff happening? It's going to be amazing. And the fact that it's going to be run by, like, paid staff members, there should be a bit of legitimacy there. What does concern me in some ways is how likely is it that over time you might get to know some of these staff members, you become friends with them, they start to prioritize certain people or certain massive content creators. Like, how realistic is it that somebody could be bribed to keep spawning something? And obviously these are really like wild suggestions, but if a person, there's always room for error when there's a person who's in control of these things, like an individual person. How are they going to staff these games 24/7? Are they going to have, like, how many of these dungeon masters are going to be that they're going to have events running 24/7? Because this game could become globally popular, and then people all over the world want to play. And when you log in, it doesn't matter what time zone you log in, you want there to be something happening. So are they going to have people 24 hours a day staffing the game? Like I say, it's just ambitious. Is it unrealistic? I don't think it's unrealistic. It's definitely, it feels like a fresh idea, and that's what I want to get behind, because so many games follow such a similar process. So when you see new MMOs come out, they're copying another one. So an MMO comes out, they've got dungeons, they've got raids, they've got the leveling process, they've got quests. It doesn't matter which game you play, a lot of them seem to follow this similar path. And then there's other types of games that are a bit different. So you've got your Tibia and like new, and then there's like Raven Quest, Raven Dawn. You've got games that are like following that structure where it's like questing and just an endless leveling like route. With a game like this, it just seems like a brand new fresh idea. Something that really truly excites me, because when you've played a few MMOs and they start to merge into that similar feeling, you're looking for that new game, you're looking for that new thing. And this is something that seems completely different and completely new, and something truly exciting. So war operations. So, I mean, so far everything seemed PvE related. I don't know if there's going to be PvP in this game, but like the same war operations. So like, well, let's see. So this seems like a PvE game mode, not PvP. So you're going to be fighting against, you're going to be attacking a stronghold. There's going to be waves of enemies. You're going to have to battle through the stronghold. You get rewards. There's different things going on. It doesn't seem like a PvP game mode. So far, there's been nothing PvP related. I mean, I'm not really that fussed personally. I'm not a massive fan of PvP, but you would think they want to appeal to that audience a little bit in some way. But even like this, siege in a castle or stronghold or whatever, and it seems like a PvE game mode that you group up with. But then, how many people are going to be able to show up at this? Is it a group by group situation? Is it going to be like, how's that going to work? It seems like if you've got hundreds of people there, how is that going to function? I mean, it seems like there must be a decent way through this game, because it seems like decent. I'm really looking forward to obviously getting in and potentially testing this. Obviously, I've applied for the beta test. I'm truly excited to give that a try and see how the game plays. It looks like it's on its way in terms of like looking at the graphically, looking at it visually. Like some of the videos we got there towards the end, the early videos didn't look as great. Towards the end, started to look a little bit better. So it looks like a lot of the world is already created and things like that. Some of the games that I played recently on beta and alpha testing, you've got things clipping through character models and things, and it didn't look like we had that. So it looks like it's reasonably far along in its journey already.
Subscribe on YouTube or sign up for the beta
September the 7th.
on our website to stay up to date.
An important bit of info there. Eternal Tombs is a microtransaction free game. Cosmetics and pay to win items are not available by purchase. All gear, experience, cosmetics and gameplay items are earned through the in-game efforts and solely through those means. So there's not going to be a store or pay to win store. There's not going to be anything on the store. How are they going to fund this game in the long term? So obviously in that must mean there's either going to be a subscription model, or you're gonna have to buy the initial game, or maybe both. We'll have to wait and see.
All of the latest news and information.
And that's the end of the video, guys. If you want to see the video, I've posted a link in the chat. Take a little look yourself. I thought we'd have a little look at the website as well, and just look at some of the bits of info that we've got about the game already. So we've got the frequently asked questions area to see what sort of info we've got on here. Someone in the chat, a cash grab. To me, this game doesn't seem like a lot of the games that are coming out where it's a cash grab. And they're like trying to bait you in with these early access bundles and packages where you get all this stuff if you support us or whatever. They don't appear to have that, so I'm not really skeptical that it's a cash grab, because it just seems like a very strong and ambitious project. Like, I think it might be too ambitious in the long term. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's hard to fathom that if this game was like a game that runs for 10 years, and then they're able to that they're having to staff the game servers 24/7, 365, with real people for 10 years, like that's why I feel like it might be a bit unrealistic. They might have to change their efforts and things later down the line. I don't really know. So when will the game release? When it's done. Brilliant. That is wonderful. I think, like, to release a trailer like this, it would be nice for them to have, like, a rough estimate of, okay, potentially 2025 or whatever. So people have got something to cling on to, a bit of info on what to expect. I think having just this open when it's done, that's great. Understandably, MMOs take a lot of time. But you've just released a trailer, people are getting excited, people want to have a vague idea. You don't have to give, like, we're going to release it on this day, but say we're expecting it to be 2025. Would be nice, just so we've got a vague idea. I'd love to know more info. How much will it cost? Still working out the exact pricing. The thing we've got to think about here is, how is this game going to run if it doesn't have a store? It's going to have to be a game that you have to buy, potentially. So it's not going to be a free-to-play game. It's not going to be free. It's not going to be a free game up front, which is fine. Like New World, when you think about New World as a game, that released, it cost 30 quid. And then the amount of, like, you could just play it. No subscription, no nothing. They brought out the Brimstone Sands DLC, no extra cost. It was all included. Fantastic. Now they've had to, like, revert things because they did have a cosmetic store, and they've had to revert things now where they've got the battle pass, so that so there's another stream of income because they obviously weren't making enough money. So that's what concerns me here, is that they must have to have a plan with, there must be some kind of subscription. They must have a pay. You must have to buy the game, because it's just, how's it going to be funded otherwise? Can I buy in-game items with real money? No. There will be no cash shop, either cosmetics or pay to win. If you truly desire a cash shop, there are plenty of MMOs. In fact, most of them that will take your money. Very abrupt statement there, but I get it. They really want to make it clear that there's not even going to be a store. Can I buy in-game with real money? No. There will be no cash shop. Not a store at all. So this is what I mean. Like, how are they funding the game? Do you have a Kickstarter? Eternal Times is privately funded 100% to completion. No Kickstarter or crowdfunding for the game. That, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Somebody posted in the chat about obviously the game and it being potentially a cash grab or whatever. I think this is a really good thing, that this is being privately funded 100% to completion. So there's no worry about the money coming in. They're not relying on people or the buzz of the game for people to buy all this early release stuff to get the game to release. Like, there's a lot of games out there, a lot of these indie MMOs that are still working at it 5, 6, 7 years down the line. They're funded purely by, obviously, people, like, there's some private funding, but they've got all these people contributing towards the game as well. One of the recent ones, I think, was Raven Quest, with a $60,000 option to buy a fort in the game, just so you can support the development of the game. 60 grand. So there's none of that in here, which I'm all for it, because those games really make me nervous. Like, I don't have much trust in that kind of process. I know they need to fund the games and get them to creation, but what's stopping those people from selling a lot of stuff, like not completing the game and then abandoning it and taking all your money? Whereas with this, privately funded, 100% to completion, so we can feel pretty good in the fact that this is going to release. How can I support the game? Sign up, talk about it, share it. Well, there we are. Only on PC for now. Interesting. So potentially future development onto other platforms. What can I purchase the game on Steam? Okay. How many classes? There will be 6 classes to pick from in the game. Crafting skills and acquired loot will allow for you to play a hybrid variant of each class. Obviously, I want to know more info about what the combat's going to be like, what the abilities are going to be like, what the classes are going to be like. Tanking, especially, obviously. I love me some tanking, so I'm excited to see how that functions in the game. I'm really hoping that they do a good job of introducing tanking. I think because it seems like a PvE game, they're not going to go down and make the mistakes that New World have made. New World now, 2 years down the line, still has one of the worst games that I've ever experienced from a tank perspective. It's just not well made for tanking, because they made it for PvP and added tanking later, so not good. Whereas this, it seems like a PvE game, so they're going to focus in on making tanking a good role, making healing a good role. I would hope, because I would imagine it's going to be an important aspect of the game. Is this game a sandbox or theme park style? It's a sandbox style MMO, so that's good. Do you have an end game? We will launch with approximately 19 end game raids on day 1. Holy crap. Wow. 19 end game raids on day 1. It is a huge priority for us to launch with a strong end game. You need end game content, we will have it. Wow. That's just added like an extra level of buzz for me, to be honest, because they want there to be a strong end game. 19 raids on day 1. Like we've said how ambitious this is already. 19 end game raids is a lot. That is a lot of raids for day 1. It doesn't mention anything about any dungeons or other content, which is interesting. I'm a big fan of raiding. This means I would hope that tanking is going to be a very strong and important role in the game. Honestly, I'm so excited about this. It's unreal. I'm going to be signing up for everything. I've already signed up for the beta on multiple email addresses. This is a game that I'm truly excited to play. I think things that do concern me is like how many dungeon masters they're going to have, how many servers, what's the server size going to be, how many players can they accommodate. I'm nervous. Like, I'm already feeling nervous for the launch. We've seen the launch of games like New World. New World did not excite me anywhere near the level this game does in like initial idea. So I imagine, let's say this game releases in a few years. They've just released the first trailer. There's going to be loads of info coming over the next months and potentially year, whatever. They're going to hit the beta test. There could be a massive buzz for this game because it does seem and sound like it could be something amazing. And so, how are they going to deal with this upon the launch? The launch of these games is crucial, vital and important. Hopefully, they've got a really solid plan. They've got some good servers and some ideas ahead. And yeah, I'm honestly 19 endgame raids on day 1. They probably don't even need to release that many, but I mean, it's good that they've got an idea. 30, oh, look at this here, 30 plus zones, 30 zones. Honestly, I'm lost for words because 30 zones, 19 raids, dynamic world, ever-changing game. If you haven't seen this yet, guys, this is Eternal Tombs. Brand new MMORPG that's due to release in an unspecified time. Get yourself over to the website and sign up for the beta. You're going to want to try this out, I think, when it gets on the beta. You're going to want to check out the video and find out as much info as you can. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look at the game overview. See what if they've got any other bits and bobs. World map. So the world map doesn't look that huge. Obviously, it looks like a lot of zones, but when you look, that looks like a cave and a fort there. That looks like one zone. It doesn't look like it's going to be that massive. Then you've got like a little zone there. That looks like another zone because they've got like kind of mountainous area blocking it off. That looks like a zone there. So what we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I don't know how zoomed out this visual is, but it doesn't look like the game map is going to be too big, if not too dissimilar from the size of a game map in New World. I mean, I keep like saying about New World. I know I keep mentioning, harping on about it, but that's just kind of what it seems like. Any info? 30 zones, dungeons, secrets, unlockable zones, hidden passages, traps, treasures, and more. Our passion is to introduce a truly dangerous world where exploration and traveling can be difficult but highly rewarding. If this is the case, this could really make a real social game as well. If it's really difficult and dangerous to go across the world, like in recent games that I've played, recent MMOs that I've played, one of the things that really engages me in a game is the teamwork, the like working with other players. I've found that guilds in a lot of games seem a bit pointless because you don't really do anything. Just to go around the mapped area, if you need to be grouped up with people, and you need to be with your little team and you're with your friends, and there's like the real strong social aspect there because you want to be grouped up with players to go around. I think that that in itself will create like really a strong community. When you've got people, when you need to be grouped up with other people and you need to interact with other people, that creates a super strong environment, I think, for a community. That's it. That's all we've got though. There's nothing. We'll just get a game map. So we haven't really got a lot of info. Let's have a look at the news section. Important game status update. There's not really too much info about like classes, and I'm guessing there's probably stuff. Mount system combat update. It's good they've got mounts in there. Can't stand running about too long. It's annoying. I like my mounts. I like to have something to ride about on. Combat rebuild, yeah. So obviously they've changed the name. They've been changing a lot of systems. I think like they've had some feedback on some of the stuff. They've decided to change the game system, the combat, to a War of Ragnaroks. The original name was War of Ragnaroks. The combat system is an action combat system. Oh, there we go. There's a class preview. I wonder what. See, I want to see gameplay announcement, gameplay reveal. Pre-alpha gameplay test. So there's a number of videos out there already. I definitely think, guys, go and check this out. Go and check this out. Eternal Tombs. Super exciting. I hope you're as excited as I am. But yeah, looking forward to getting on and testing this game. Hopefully we get some more info soon.